So this is a video in response to a comment that I got asking how you synchronize up things like the TR6S with something like a mini log. I didn't want to bring the mini log because it wouldn't fit with everything else, but I did want to bring in the TR6S, the Korg Volca FM, and then also the Korg Monotribe, as well as my sequencer here, the Keystep 37, because this has inputs and outputs that aren't dissimilar to what you'll find on most keyboard style synthesizers. The TR6S is a TR6S. The Volca FM uses MIDI that is kind of common on guitar pedals, and this doesn't have MIDI at all, but you'll see why I've brought this over. Okay, the connectors are upside down, but MIDI looks like either this or it will look like a receptacle for an audio jack, like what we have on the Volca FM, in fact. You'll also have sync and you'll have CV. Now, I don't use CV because I don't have modular equipment that uses it, but I do use MIDI and I occasionally use sync. Let's look at MIDI first. Generally speaking, with synchronization, you're going to use MIDI. Now, the easiest way to get MIDI to talk between devices is to use a MIDI cable, which is generally going to be a 5-pin DIN cable, like so. Whoop. Focus, close enough. So it's going to be one of these. One side plugs into one device, the other plugs into the other. The only thing you got to know is which direction you want the messages to be sent. So if what I wanted to do was to have the TR6S's tempo, for example, controlling the Keystep's tempo, I would need to plug the MIDI out of the TR6S into the MIDI in of the Keystep 37. So let's do that now. Perfect. Now on this sequencer, I also have to flip some switches on the back of it to tell it to listen to MIDI. But what that means now is, if I want to, I can start a drum pattern, like it doesn't have a speaker connected, so we're not going to hear it. You'll see that we're going through our actual, sequence that we have. Switch the tempo down from 144. There you go. So I'm setting the tempo on the TR6S, and that sets it on the Keystep 37. And then depending on what settings I have set up on here, usually through the computers where I change the setting, this will then send that beat out, so that tempo rather, out to other devices. So if I connected this up to the Volca FM or to the Monotribe, that tempo would be sent from the TR6S through here into there. Now the Volca FM also uses MIDI, but it uses MIDI with a single connector. So some things like the Korg SQ64 will use this as well. I know the Arturia BeatStep uses a jack for its MIDI. And for that, much like you would expect from its size, as long as they're using a TRS cable, so a jack cable that has 3 conductors or the 2 rings on it, you'll be good. You basically plug this into whatever side of MIDI you want. So if I want to send notes from here out, I'm going to connect the MIDI into the Volca FM. The other side of this cable is a MIDI DIN, but you can also get cables that are just, jacks on both sides, like audio cables, or you can get an adapter that starts with a jack and then ends with this as a receptacle, so you can plug your existing ones in. Just going to look to plug this into the MIDI out of the Keystep 37 because I want the notes to come out of here and into there. So MIDI in you can use to send notes into something from a controller like this, or you can use it to send tempo as well if that's supported using tempo, starting and stopping its internal sequence if I wanted to. The TR6S, we can send tempo out from here into the Keystep to control its tempo, and then to use that maybe even to control tempo of other sequences that we're playing around. So the third way to connect between 2 different devices is using sync, and you'll tend to find that mostly on things like Volcas or modular gear or Eurorack gear. I don't really have a lot of things that only have sync. The only thing that I have that only has sync, other than my little pocket operators, is this, my Monotribe. And this has a sync in and out. You can see from the labeling at the top. The in doubles up as a CV gate, which I didn't know, so I'm gonna have to learn more about that. And your sync uses a receptacle just like an audio jack, because you can use cables as long as they're stereo for sending sync across. It's just got to be tip, ring, and sleeve. So it's going to have 2 bands on it and 3 conductors, and then you can use sync for it. I haven't set up my key step for sync, and as much as it has the outputs, I think I need to go into its MIDI settings to make sure that it's definitely correct, because last time I tried, it was sending it at like 4 times speed, and it was way too fast for what it needed to do. But that's pretty much our video. That's how we can synchronize stuff up. So generally, your MIDI out of your TR6S or of anything else, if it has the ability to set tempo, that can be used to send tempo. Your MIDI out can also be used to send notes as well as tempo, and also start stop. So even doing something like pressing play on here, if I had the MIDI out going into the MIDI in of the TR6S, as long as this wasn't sending notes in a way that that would listen to, this would just start its own internal sequence that I've set, and then I could play this and control a different synth if I wanted to, and so on and so forth. I hope that's answered your question. Let me know in the comments any other questions that you have about using different bits of gear together, and enjoy the rest of your day. Rocco says bye as well. Ain't that right, Rocco? Yes, he said it. He's cool. Sweet.